Welcome back to Netflix and Chill, your number one Netflix movie review show.
I want to say that.
You can still say it.
Nah, the moment's passed. Anyway, are you ready, Terry, for us to hit up the randomizer and get another shitty movie?
You know, honestly, I am a bit hesitant. You know, that randomizer hasn't been the greatest to us, but, you know, that's all part of the fun as well, is because we review random movies, so avoid bias. So, you know, we don't know what we're going to get. So, yeah, let's hit up the randomizers.
Hit it. Hit it hard. All right, so Terry, we're back at this randomizer machine here.
Back again. You know, it hasn't really given us much luck for the past few weeks.
Worked out once.
Yeah, it worked out once, but you know, we gotta hope for the best, and you know, maybe we'll have a change of luck today and get something good.
All right, I think the odds are not in our favor, but let's try anyway.
All right, fingers crossed.
Generate.
Oh, 1668. Okay. I feel like that
says 1861, 35, 36, 37, 38, 30.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
God, that is too perfect.
Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Hey, and Rogue One's coming out.
Yeah.
Oh
my god. Let's play the lottery today.
Yes, we should definitely. The Force has clearly guided us to this choice.
Who are you? I'm no one.
They're real.
The Force. It's calling to you.
Did you see it? He took her. She's gone. Yeah, I know.
He doesn't understand anything the movie says, right?
Well, we all understand what he's saying. He's saying, yeah, you asshole. He knows. Holy shit. It's Admiral Akbar. Alright, so we just finished watching the Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Incredible, incredible.
Amazing film. Amazing.
It is.
You know,
I would go as far as saying that it's probably the best Star Wars film out there.
And the best film that we've ever seen on this show.
Oh, absolutely. Hands
Without
down.
a
The
doubt.
best movie we've seen on this show and probably will see for a while.
That's right. We're going to cherish this moment. So, Terry, do you want to give a synopsis of this film?
All right. I mean, I'll try to do it. I don't know if I'll be able to do it justice, but okay. So we're on this planet of Jakku. We find ourselves with one of the people from the rebellion. The guy, he's a fighter pilot played by Oscar Isaac. The rebellion is trying to locate Luke. Poe is captured, and then that's when we're introduced to Kylo Ren. And, you know, we find out he's a badass because, you know, he tries to shoot him, but he takes that force, you know, and he stops it right in his tracks. Kylo Ren is the bad guy. He's like the quintessential evil, quote-unquote, character in this movie. First Order is led by this Dark Lord, Snoke. And
played by Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, yeah. Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Where would you be without me?
All right, so there's Snoke. He's the leader of the First Order, and right underneath him, I guess, in the structure of the First Order, there is Donald Gleason. I don't know. Donald Gleason.
But it's Donal is how I pronounce my name, which is like tonal, but with a D instead of a T, and the M is just there to confuse Americans.
And then Finn, he's the reluctant stormtrooper. He's kind of a pacifist. He finds out, and this is a really cool scene because he's there. He's one of the stormtroopers, but he doesn't actually agree with what's happening in the village. They're murdering all these innocent people, and he doesn't want to do that anymore. So what happens is Poe is captured, he's taken back to the ship, and then the stormtrooper, Finn, he helps him escape. And then, we see them, they team up, they hijack one of the ships. The
TIE fighters.
Yeah, the TIE fighters.
Yeah.
They hijack that, they get away, and he starts killing off all the other stormtroopers, the ones that, he's against killing, but yet he kills all the stormtroopers. He guns them down, so they go back to Jakku, the ship blows up, and they get separated, and we presumably think that Poe has perished. Finn goes off, and he finds the nearest village, and then that's when he spots Rey, one of the other good guys, and Rey is with the BB unit, and Rey finds it, saves it from, this, guy who's, just trying to sell it for parts. And
who's actually played by Simon Pegg.
Star Wars. I'd burn for Star Wars.
Yeah, Simon Pegg is
cameo.
Actually in it. I guess he's done some stuff with J.J. Abrams in the
He played
past.
Scotty from
That's right, in Star Trek.
Yeah.
And then that's when all these characters kind of come together.
Yeah.
We get, Finn, the BB unit, and Rey. But yeah, then they go off and they find a Millennium Falcon. It's actually a piece of junk according to Rey, right?
Yeah.
They're going after the nice ship, and then that gets blown up, and then they're like, well, I guess we're going to have to take the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
So they go into the Millennium Falcon because the Rebellion, again, located them. They're going after them. So they get into the Millennium Falcon, and that's when we have, this, cool, cat and mouse chase through, and when we see, this perspective of this huge, ship that's, been, obviously in some previous war.
Yeah.
There's, wreckage and whatnot. And then that's when we have this, cool, again, Finn goes for the guns.
Mm-hmm.
He's manning the guns. And then that's when he takes out the last TIE fighter, and he goes, woo!
It's the best.
It is,
It's the best moment.
It is.
You can really tell how much fun Finn had in destroying that in that moment there.
It
the
is.
man who disbanded from the Stormtroopers and the First Order because he saw a Stormtrooper die.
Yeah,
in
you
front
didn't
of
want
him.
to see people being killed and whatnot, and then he goes on this rampage and kills all Woo! They get picked up by another ship, and it turns out that ship is manned by Han Solo
and his faithful dog
Chewbacca. Yeah, so once they pick them up, and then there's this really crazy scene with I guess some Asian mob, and then there's a Scottish guy that comes in. But whatever, they get through it and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then the whole story is pretty much the bad guys, the First Order trying to get the missing piece, but they also are working on this deadly weapon that takes its energy from the sun.
It's called the Star Killer.
Yeah, they're developing this weapon of mass destruction. So, to kind of wrap up, what the movie is about, it's the bad guys trying to destroy other planets and take over, I guess, the universe.
Yeah, I think that is pretty much what the movie is. But also a big central theme to it is Rey's awakening to the Force.
Yeah, absolutely, and then hence, the Force Awakens.
Force Awakens,
Yeah.
Aptly titled film. And I think a big thing that plays into the Star Wars movies and always has is the family ties. With the whole original trilogy, Luke, I'm your father, even though that's a misquote, that stuff is the central plot of the film, and it's always about passing on the Force to some other family member. So in this film, they do the same thing. Yeah, I thought this movie was going to be a bunch of just old trilogy references, and I was fearful of that because the Star Trek movies were really good, the J.J. Abrams ones, but at the same time, there did feel there was a bit lacking. Because, personally, I grew up on Star Wars, not Star Trek, but I know enough people that can vouch for Star Trek, and that it's not really, Star Trek has never really been about the aesthetics or the production value. It's been more about, the overall philosophy and the ideas behind that show that are really, thought-provoking and kind of progressive in that sense. And Star Wars is almost the opposite, because it's almost bare bones, the Star Wars sort of mantra or whatever. It's good versus evil. It's kind of a time-tested, movie theme.
Yeah, we talked about it too, where each antagonist has kind of a motivation for why
Yeah.
they're doing what they're doing, but overall, we don't really know why the First Order is doing what they're doing.
No.
'Cause, there are a lot of comparisons where, again, it was like the Third Reich, where it's like the
Yeah.
Nazis.
Yeah.
But with the First Order, we don't really know. It's just kind of like, they are the bad guys.
They're just kind of power tripping. Like, they want to take over the entire universe.
Right. For what reason?
Who knows?
We don't really know, right?
But that being said, like, yeah, the film didn't rely too heavily on anything that was so basic. Like, it felt that it had this basic setup. I mean, a lot of people they compare this movie to A New Hope. And I've heard a lot of times that this movie is basically A New Hope, but it's like what you call a soft reboot, right? Like, it's not a continuation in the story. It's kind of like a new way to get people into Star Wars again, while just utilizing or rehashing the same concept or formula that worked for A New Hope. But they're all like that, and I think that it's how you dress it up. It's how you dress up the story, and like if you care. And in this movie, you really do care about the characters. Within the first 5 to 10 minutes of the film,
They do a really good job of establishing who the characters
you establish who they are, and you establish who you're rooting for. You establish why you're rooting for them, and within the first 30 minutes, you actually give a shit if these people get kidnapped or caught or anything.
There's highs and lows. They do have some comedic relief.
They do.
There are those moments where we see Kylo Ren throwing a fit. We see like stormtroopers walking down the hallway, and they see that Kylo Ren's pissed off.
Yeah.
So like, okay, we're definitely not going there.
Going that way.
Gonna take a step back here. Waste our time somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you see like the guy who's supposed to give the bad news to Kylo Ren, and he's like shitting his pants, and he's like, well, actually, we have some bad news. They were taken away, and there was a girl with them. He's like, what?
What girl? It's fantastic. The comedy
Yeah.
in this is really good. I think like there's some.
It's done tastefully.
It's done tastefully.
Yeah.
Like there's a few moments that kind of make you roll your eyes. Like I thought that bit where Finn's talking with Rey, and he's like, "Why do you want to go back to Jakku? You got a family there? You got a boyfriend? Cute boyfriend?" I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's kind of like, this.
But you know what? Even with that scene where he's like saying, "Oh, do you have a boyfriend?" and whatnot,
Yeah.
that still adds to the relationship that Finn has with
It does.
with Daisy
Right.
Ridley,
Yeah.
right?
And I think that connection between the two of them in this film is so
They had very good
excellently
chemistry.
executed,
Yeah.
because there's some moments too, and I really like the performances from these actors, like because the guy who plays Finn, I don't know his
John
name.
Balayaga or whatever.
Let's go with that. Baba Yaga. He's a great actor because he's actually British and he's doing like the American accent. There's two moments where you really get the sense of how much they care for each other through the acting too. And one moment is when Rey is when they're aboard the ship with Han Solo and Chewie with the Raptors, and one of them gets Finn, and they're running away, and then she turns back and she goes, "Finn!" But it's like, it's in such a good, like, it really brings the emotion out. She's so scared and she really cares about him.
Yeah.
And then for Finn, it's when Rey gets captured by Kylo Ren on the planet with Maz Kanata, and then leaves, and then he's like screaming into the sky, and he's like, "Rey!" And it's like, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you really see that he really cares like a lot about her, even though they only met like technically earlier that day. Let's say it's the Force, but you should never use Force when it comes to love. The lightsaber battle was fantastic. I loved the
one at the end.
The one at the end,
Yeah.
in the snow, is very cool. The attention to detail. I mean, they put the lightsabers into the snow, and the snow starts turning into steam, because that's what would happen, right? It would boil all the water because of the heat of this thing. It's very cool, and like watching that, having the colors of those two lightsabers, the red and blue, they almost create this like Gaspar Noé Enter the Void, like neon color. It's great. I don't know who came up with it. I don't know who their DOP was, but that was fantastic.
Yeah, they had a lot of attention to detail. I even like Kylo Ren's costume design. I was looking at it, and Kylo Ren's lightsaber resembles like the shape of the cross, and then when
upside
you
down cross too.
Yeah,
so.
and when you look at his mask and his cape and his outfit, it kind of reminds you of a Crusader as well.
For sure.
So it's really cool, like, to maybe even dig deeper and to see if there's some sort of religious message there or undertones, that they're trying to portray.
For sure, and there always has been with the Star Wars films,
exactly.
because
the
Force is
good,
an allegory for religion, having faith in something. that's unseen and unbelievable with miraculous powers,
And
but
the
that can
dark
also
side,
be used
right?
for it's like heaven and hell. I mean, I think that there's a few moments to get nitpicky like about it. I think that there's a few scenes where ships are exiting other ships, and the opening area is totally open into space, which I always thought
It would create a suction.
it would create some sort of vacuum
Right.
where you all get sucked out, or gravity at the very least would become like off, right? So
Absolutely,
people would
yeah.
start floating around, but they didn't really seem to care about that.
And there's another thing for being really nitpicky about it and pointing out things that we didn't like about the movie. I would think that the scene where Finn is fighting with Kylo Ren with the lightsaber,
Right.
that doesn't really make that much sense because he's a stormtrooper. He's never been trained as a Jedi, and yet he's wielding the lightsaber.
And he actually hits
And
Kylo
yeah,
Ren.
and he's on par almost with Kylo Ren,
Yeah.
and you would think that Kylo Ren would just like eliminate this guy, like
Yeah.
like get the hell out of here. You don't know what the hell you're doing. But yeah, Finn is
Still gets a blow
uses
in
his
there.
courage and gets his blow in there,
Yeah.
which is a bit kind of it makes sense for the story, but
It's-
it doesn't really make sense within the overall
Yeah,
picture.
it's far-fetched unless they're planning on going a certain route where everything that led Finn to disband and join Rey and this whole thing was because he too has the Force. And if that's the case, then you can kind of basically the Force is like the one thing that trumps all in terms of bad writing because you can just say like no matter what,
It was the Force.
it was the Force. So, which is funny too because there's a scene where Finn says that to Han Solo. He's like, "We'll just use the Force to get into the place," and he's like, "That's not how the Force works." It's like no one knows how the Force works. You can just say whatever. I don't even think George Lucas knows how the Force works. Okay, so we didn't really have to give this one too much thought. This movie is almost perfect. We're going to go with a rating of 8 beer cans out of 10 beer cans.
This is to date the best movie that we've seen on the show, hands down.
Hands down. It's a fantastic movie. We definitely recommend anybody to watch this. It's good for kids to adults. There's nothing vulgar or profane in it, like in
No,
our
it's
show.
family friendly.
Yep, and yeah, check it out. It's an amazing movie and an amazing entry point to Star Wars too. Thank you, J.J. Abrams, our personal god. Okay, so here we go. 8 beers. May the Force be with us.
May the Force be with us.
This one's for you, Chewie. I fucking love you.
All right, Chewie.
I'm gonna start speaking like Chewie soon.
This one is for you, Han Solo.
The Force has been awoken within me. Oh, fuck.
If there's any reason to watch this episode, it's just for the plain fact that 2 guys are downing like 4 beers each.
Yep. In the name of Star Wars, of all things. I really hope we never get any 10s. Oh my god. Alright, so you heard it here. Netflix and chill. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
8 beer cans out of 10.
That's right, we do
Go
it.
watch this movie, watch your episode, subscribe to the channel.
Do it all. Just live, man. YOLO. Hashtag that shit. We do it for you.
For you.
And for you.
And for you.
We celebrate a day of peace, a day of harmony, a day of joy we all can share, together joyously, a day that takes us